Welcome to Dungeons and Plushies.
So who's gonna
So,
start?
what's the deal with airline food, guys?
I hate both of you.
Me? What did I do?
Okay. D&D. There's many things to talk about.
There are, though.
So, how about we talk about what we were just doing and talking about Jarrell's character?
My character. You mean the lack of character?
The lack of character.
We have yet
we
to solidify anything.
Should we give context of the, setting?
Yeah, sure, you go ahead, creator of the game.
I am creator of the game.
I'm
John
what some would call
Sandwich
a
Maker.
dungeon master.
So basically, right after the Civil War, a bunch of monsters show up, due to unknown reasons, along with new abilities and whatnot, called runes and sigils and pledges.
Themes and such.
And themes and such, right? All sorts of chicanery. There's more to it than that, but that's like the briefing.
I need 8 minutes.
Carlos,
to talk
what's
about
your character?
My character is Dogfella, who, in the universe that we're in currently, or gonna be currently, is a reverse lycanthrope. They were born a lycanthrope, then got bit by a human, and can go into a human form. No, that was the original idea. What they are currently, they're a lycanthrope that has a, what is it, a sigil, right?
Yes, I believe
Yes.
They're
Yes.
a lycanthrope that has a sigil on their heart that lets them transform between human and lycanthrope form because they were an experiment. And what about your lack of character, Jerome?
See, I have a lot of ideas. I'm mostly basing it off of the concept of Angel's Glow. Back during the Battle of Silo, I think that's how you say it, a lot of soldiers were dying of like horrid wounds in which some soldiers started to glow due to a bacteria, which they dubbed the Angel's Glow, because of the bacteria was actively fighting off most common infections. That's why soldiers who were glowing were more likely to survive. And that's all I have.
Are you sure? God had left the planet, and in his wake, Satan, right, or this campaign's version of Satan and God and all that jazz, had taken over, right? Now, I followed a mix of different kinds of religions, so it wasn't all based on Christianity, but it did have heavy elements. For example, there was a Cain, Abel, Adam, and Eve, and in this verse, Adam had, I believe, forsaken his wife and killed her, then becoming Cain, as that was the first sin, right? Well, once he became Cain, he sentenced later down the road, right? He was stripped of his name Adam, and instead of it just being Adam, he was given the name Cain Vernet. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Which
Something
is
like
like
that.
a fancy schmancy word for like inside out or some shit.
Inverted. I
forgot.
came up with that one.
Yeah. And what's it called? Long story short, Elliot's character was a descendant of Cain.
Oh
And
yeah,
they had their
he was
memories
an
wiped
asshole.
by... Yeah, they had their memories wiped by this
Pompous rich kid.
universe's version. They had their memories wiped by this version of Satan because he was angered at the idea of Adam, so he took it out on his descendants.
Also, Satan's
yeah.
like a big cursy prick.
Yeah. I mean, my character low-key deserved it. I remember the opening line to Kevin
Yeah,
was, what if this guy just is mean to your average wait staff and just low-key sucks?
Yeah, but just in general, Satan in this universe is kind of a prick. In general.
Well, yeah, that too.
Keyword kinda. He had his moments.
He had his moments.
Because the whole thing ended up being that in this universe, God was not perfect, and as a result, Satan Satan necessarily didn't deserve his what's the word
Punishment.
disfiguration and punishment. Yes. And it's something I explored a lot with the characters that went on in the campaign. The whole reason for the campaign was it was a setup where Satan in this universe had created a race known as King Souls, which is basically a human that is on the brink of death with strong willpower. They are then given the option by Satan to either abandon their humanity and become a new race, which will have an ability to accomplish their goal, or they can reject him and die.
But then I end up hating that because I don't like it. So I want to make a more simpler character in which I took a lot. I want to take a lot of inspiration from your characters like Gyoji and Kairu.
I keep seeing that I do that. I make simple characters from the beginning, and then later they turn either gimmicky or like really strong physically.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that your characters have extreme emotional depth while also being extremely simple. And I was telling Kevin that you have like a really good way of writing / portraying your characters that you don't seem to notice. But it's like a good example, and I think more authors should like take inspiration from. You don't need to have a complex story to give your character actual depth, emotion, and feeling. I feel like you've mastered that more than you realize.
Huh.
No, yeah. It is something that, yeah, I mean, I could probably learn from to a degree, because with the stuff I actually try to write, like Reborn, I probably make characters who are a little too in-depth. It's a nice quality you have with your writing.
Thank you.
It's so simple, yet all your characters are so beautiful. Kevin, why don't you tell the class about Mac?
Oh my god!
The Mac incident.
The Mac
incident. So the way the previous campaign with the King Souls was formatted, each session they'd go fight a new King Soul with a total of like 12, maybe more. And each one would have a different ability and lore and design relating towards what their goal was when they were almost died, right? So, the King Soul who wanted to find his family has an ability to bring things together, right?
No, see, that's not the issue. You would give us things like the King Soul who wanted to complete the set, and it was super evil murder guy.
We'll get to that one next.
And then you hit us with the guy who wanted to save his friends.
That's who Mac was. So sometimes King Souls would be like super evil, right? And they'd be like, the one who wanted to be evil and be more evil, right? Because that was their dying want. But there was a guy
specifically dedicated to being evil, by the way. Like, his whole ability was to cause as much torture as possible, in which that's who we thought beforehand.
Which also, this world, what you're explaining is a prequel to the actual what was supposed to be quotation marks the original campaign we had set up.
Yes. Because, okay, in the original campaign, it was going to be a lot more barren and lifeless. But I decided to do a prequel where Satan was still involved. And the whole premise is the King Souls are too powerful, so Satan needs someone to eradicate them. Because not long after that campaign takes place, in lore, there's going to be like a long period of time where Satan disappears and there's no God at all. Which before we got to that, I kind of wanted to take a break from that universe, so that's how we got to like a horror western campaign. I also played Red Dead 2, so that probably influenced it.
Cowboys and shit.
No, see, because what happened was one time I was looking for games to play with Kevin, and I found a game called Wizards with Guns, and then he saw the art for it, was like, man, this is awesome, and then he saw actual gameplay, and he was like, man, this sucks. I could make a better concept.
And, granted, I kind of did, because it was so cool. The trailer was like this animated thing of people using guns, but instead of bullets, they shoot out like magical blasts or vines that grasp people and stuff. It's like, oh, that's awesome. I want to do that. Let's
It's
get this
just Don't
game.
Starve Part 2.
Yeah, it's genuinely just Don't Starve, and it made me so sad. Like, no hate, the game's probably amazing. But dude,
Not your cup
so
of
then I
tea.
was like, not my cup of tea. So then I made runes, sigils, pledges, miracles, saving touches, races, and natural talents, which is what my current campaign has power system-wise, which is a lot of chicanery, if you're not aware.
While editing, I realized I didn't put a lot of me in because my recording and audio software kind of bugged it out. But I was talking more of my character Gyoji, Fishboy, who I put a lot of time and effort into making. But also he had very simple characteristics of him, and I'll put pictures of him on the screen right now. But he's one of my favorite characters that I have ever written, and one of the easier characters that I've ever written because I took a lot of inspiration, and once I found that inspiration, I sort of took off like a rocket into creativity. But I really did love making Gyoji, and I loved Kevin for making him or giving me many opportunities to flesh out his character more, and I'm very thankful for him. And also Elliot, because he has been alongside me the whole time, helping me, build character, and we bounce off each other really well while playing. So thank you to Kevin and Elliot for being there for me.